morning mood. We are still in the morning spirit. Today, we marked exactly 1 week when His Excellency Professor John Evans Atta Mills was called to glory. Tonight, to help us with the discussion, we are celebrating the life of His Excellency President Mills, and then to help us in the discussion tonight, I am with the NDC regional chairman, Mr. Caucus, who will be giving us some insight into what really happened, and we'll also be looking at a documentary on the life of His Excellency President John Evans Atta Mills. So, Caucus, you're warmly welcome to Majority Caucus.
Thank you.
Yeah, I believe this is your first time on the show.
Oh no, I think this is my third time.
Your third time, okay, that's great. Yes, today we marked exactly 1 year since the demise of His Excellency the President. You were at some functions.
Yes.
Yeah, if you can tell us briefly what has been happening.
We were at the Children's Park.
Okay.
And it was a spectacle to see that the people of Ghana, right, came out in their numbers to really give a befitting 1 week celebration for the gentleman. I call the president a gentleman because he was a gentleman.
Okay.
And you can't believe that Ghanaians have now realized what they have lost. You know, in this part of the world, we tend not to appreciate people when they are alive, and rather sing their praises when they are dead. But that is what we should change. It is important that we appreciate people, the good things that they do, and not wait for them passing on, and then we come and laud them with all platitudes. So I think what happened a week today is a great lesson to all of us. Okay. It's very important to appreciate things that the good Lord gives to us. In the form of people in a certain period of time are given to a nation to bring the nation up, you know, to help the nation grow. Unfortunately, we did not see it that way. We went about vilifying him, and like the president said, you know, this is a time to forgive. All of us have to forgive ourselves for what we did to the president. Sometimes you go to him and he will ask the question, what have I done? That people wake up in the morning and all that they do is to go about insulting me. And I think it's something that all of us, henceforth, should not. Politics is not the insult that you heap on your opponent that will determine how good you are.
Was that perhaps why His Excellency President Mills was very passionate about the politics of insult, always talking about politics of insult? We shouldn't be insulting people, because I quite remember during the last editors forum at the castle, he made a point clearly that arguments are won on logic, on agility, and then on facts, and not on insult. He's been very, very, very passionate about it.
You know that he has admonished most of the spokespersons for him that they should desist from insult. There was a time that there was a code of conduct telling us that when you go to speak on his behalf, we should be decorous. And I think it is something that he believed in the Christian principles. You need not insult your fellow human being to make a point. Argue on the issues and win the debate. I mean, when we were young and we were in school and we were having debating program, school debates or across inter-schools debates, we don't insult ourselves.
Not at all.
You go and argue your case, and if your case is fine, people will accept it. But I think those of you who came after independence, and maybe early 70s and 80s kids who have grown up, seem not to respect that principle. They believe that the more you shout, the more you insult, then you'll be recognized. I think it's a wrong thing that people have been doing. So it's appropriate that he felt at a particular time, he felt very strongly about insults. And admonished everybody that we should take insults out of politics. And I think he has been vindicated.
How will you distinguish between criticizing somebody and then openly insulting a person? How will you distinguish?
Well, nobody says that a government should not be criticized, I mean, then you are calling for an utopian state, which is not possible. But there's, I mean, look at the Western democracies. In the British, where the place they only shout is when they go to parliament and when they have prime minister's question time. After that, you never hear them going to radio stations or television stations insulting themselves. When there's a situation, the opposition will be asked for its view and then its alternative policy. It comes to tell you, we will never hear of them insulting because they respect institutions. They never. Have you ever heard about anybody insulting Cameron? No. Look, when somebody threw an egg on the former British Prime Minister, he was arrested. Obama, the Republican, made a statement in Congress, and the party denounced him. And I think they disassociated themselves from and even wanted to expel from the Republican Party. That is how they see the institution. The presidency is an institution. And when you bash the institution, the respect that the institution has goes away. Okay. Right? So it became that the presidency became like a football field, a battlefield. Then the morning, whoever scores the highest goal was the one who thinks he has done well. So you have kids, children, people who had not in politics.
They wouldn't be talking to the elderly the way they were doing?
No. They would phone the radio stations and they go on and on. I'm happy the president made mention of that we should desist from that. Okay. Professor Akosa, who came to give a tribute to the president, also said the same thing. Virtually every speaker who came on to today's program.
Okay. But for you as a person, how have you known His Excellency President John Evans Mills as a person?
I've known the president for about 30 years.
Wow.
First, my uncle was the IRC commissioner called Mr. Blankson of blessed memory. When he died, then Professor Mills assumed the office as the acting commissioner and then became commissioner. And in football circles, when I was in Olympics, he was in House of Folk, and he was the board chairman for Accra House of Folk. At that time, I was the secretary for Accra Great Olympics.
City rivals.
Yeah, but we were very, and then he used to, he was a member of a founding member of the Vipers Football Club in Cape Coast. So we used to share a lot of things together. Well, anytime he comes to the stadium, a midweek match, and he's going after the match, I escort him to the stadium gate for him to go to his office. And then on the political front, when he was vice president, I was then the president of the Foreign Bureau Association. So occasionally, he used to call us to look at the foreign exchange situation in the country. We used to go to his office and have discussions, And then in 2001, when he stood for the presidency, we were in the trenches with him. Likewise, 2004. 2004, it came to a certain time, 2008, he thought he was not going to contest it because of all the, within ourselves, infighting, some of his colleagues were then contesting him. But we said, look, Mr. President, Mr. Vice President, at that time, you are the president we have marketed. So it will be very difficult for us to go for another candidate. So we stood solidly behind him. And I quite remember on one of his runs at Ablekuma South, he approached me, he called me to his office and told me that he wanted to contest the seat as a parliamentary because he's looking for young people to form his government. And true to form, I told him, I would love to contest, but I'd rather stay behind and then help you to prosecute because at that time, I didn't think I was ready to go to parliament, So that's how close I've been. I've been with him, and my position as the regional chairman too, occasionally with the regional chairman, so I had a lot of interaction. The last time he was in Senegal, went to this conference in Senegal, and that ended foreign exchange.
Yeah,
dollar
I think that should be an emergency.
Yeah, ECOWAS.
Yeah.
He called me from Senegal to ask me what's my view on what is happening with the currency. He called me all the way from Senegal. His son called me and said, the president wants to speak to me, And the last time we had an interaction was when he came to Salvation Army to inaugurate the millennium schools.
Okay.
And I was just one seat from him. Right. So that's how, I mean, on numerous occasions I've traveled to the US or China. I was part of his team where I went to China. You know, I've been all over the place.
How did he work with the party? You being the party chairman, how would you say that?
No, don't forget that the national chairman is a cabinet member.
Okay.
The general secretary is a cabinet member. The national organizer is a presidential advisor.
Okay.
So the party is there. I mean, he consults the party. He comes to NEC, you know, and he has a listening ear. He listens to ideas. The prof does not take decision without consulting. You know, he made a famous statement that he was going to consult the former president 24 hours. It became a problem. But that is his nature.
Okay.
That he feels that everything that he does, he must consult with people. He must, well, ideas, two heads are better than one, right? So that's how close and that's how passionate and how, for me, my dad died this year will be 20 years when my father died, right? I was then a very, young man, still a young man though, but Prof dying, it looks like my father has died again.
It's a great shock.
It's a great shock, and the same thing, I didn't anticipate my father was going to die. Just one morning, I woke up and he was sick and he was gone. Whilst he was looking healthy. So it has come as a shock to me. And up till now, we are still traumatized.
We say humility, respect for everybody, his love and passion for the party, and then his integrity, and his hard work. These are virtues that we kept drumming into the ears of our people.
Yes. You can't say more than that. And it is very true. Look, this is a president who people have had his phone number, and they will call him and he'll pick it up.
Okay.
And ordinary people like all of us here. They call him and he picks up his phone and he chats with them. He talks to them. Asks them what happened, and they tell him what is going on in the country. So his ears was on the ground. He didn't not need wait for minister or something. But the ordinary people were calling him, sending him text. And he will read it and sometimes call the people back. Call them back and talk to them. Sometimes when he makes a call, he calls back. He wants to, he demystified the presidency. You know, in other countries, who dare you call the president? The next minute, they'll come and take your phone from you that you are disturbing the president. You know, but here's a person who will pick up a call, talk to you, ask Mr. Lawson, Colonel Lawson to call you. He wants to talk to you. Or he has heard something, he wants to find out whether it is true or false. You know, there was a time when we were doing he was being challenged for the presidency, and Greater Accra had a meeting, and somebody misinformed him that we in Greater Accra had passed a vote of no confidence in him. Jesus Christ. I was in my office when he called me. He said, Ade, what am I hearing from Greater Accra? I said, Your Excellency, what is this? He said he wants to talk to me. He doesn't want to talk to me on the phone. So he wants to talk. So quickly, I rushed the castle. And he asked me, I said, who told him that? That's a blatant lie. Wow. I had to even ask him to call some of the executives to ask them whether this has happened. So people went to lie to him. He was very interested. And nothing of that sort had happened. You know? So that's the person who immediately called you because he wouldn't put in his head or heart and then vilify you. He'll call you, get the truth of the matter. So he knew who were lying to him and who were not lying to him. You know?
How involved was the president in resolving conflicts within the party?
Yeah, you know, he doesn't, sometimes it's not good for people to see that he's doing that. But in his quiet way, he calls the people and talks to them or sends messages to them. Right? We have this Lady Cuckoo and Crow. I mean, we went to him and told him, say, leave it, I'll sort it for you. And I know he was making calls to the protagonists to lay down their tools and that kind of thing. On a very quiet side, because he doesn't want to be seen to be interfering. But he does in a subtle way, you know. Yeah. So he was a gentleman.
Okay.
And I'm glad that the Ghanaians are now realizing so. And I think that we have to immortalize him. Very, very necessary. That future generations who will come will have to ask the question. We need to open a library for him.
Okay.
We need to ensure that everything that he had used when he was a president is preserved.
Okay. Okay.
Very, very important. Okay. Because you go to the US and you've got the Reagan Library, you've got the Nixon Library, you've got the Clinton Library, you've got all those things. So that when they are out of the system, people coming after can be a source of education. We should start certain examinations on them.
Okay, okay.
So that the memory continues and lives on with us.
How should President Mills be remembered?
He must be remembered as the president who blazed the trail that others couldn't do.
Okay.
The sense that he brought a different form of politics in the country. That I don't have to put my supposedly enemies away or jail them or just make life difficult for them. But he gave everybody space, right? So he brought, that is why the country is unified today. You know, if he was a president who was, you find him fighting everybody all over the place, I bet you, today nobody will turn up. A handful of people will turn up. But this is somebody that unified, his death has unified the country because of the good days, that he never went about chasing his opponents.
Exactly, marks 1 week, especially the weather even tells it all about the mood that is in the country. Since Tuesday, when His Excellency the President was called to glory, the weather is still reminding us of the good virtues, the love and the passion that he left with us. Let me come to Mrs. Sedina Tamekwatiano, who is also an aspirant in the Anya Sowusium constituency in the Greater Accra region, and also the acting coordinator of the National Youth Authority. Yeah, Madam, welcome to Majority Caucus. And then
Thank you very much.
Yes, from the perspective of the youth, what does President Mills represent, or what did he represent? I mean, we believe he's still alive with us, so what does he represent to the youth of Ghana?
Well, I think the good prof was a leader by example. I mean, he was humble, he was peaceful, he decided to try and unite the country, and he felt that the politics of vilification and the politics of vindication should stop. He felt that that clockwork cycle he was the one who had to stop it, and so he taught us to be humble. He served his country. He was selfless, and I think these are some of the virtues young people can pick up. To be selfless, to serve your country till the last, which is exactly what he did. He sat in office till his last day. He did not say I was ill, and so therefore I would go on holiday or I would relinquish my duties. He was at work till the last. And those are some of the virtues and some of the behaviors that I think young people should emulate. He was dedicated to his country, he was dedicated to the people, and he emulated peace.
Okay, okay. And then again, from the National Youth Authority, it was under his administration that the Youth Authority was actually transformed from the National Youth Council to a National Youth Authority. Now, within this transformation, what would you fondly remember him for as his contribution to the transformation of that organization? Well,
I think His Excellency President Mills set the stage for the young people of Ghana to progress in rhythmically set future, that young people should have the opportunities that are required of them in the country. So in doing that, he put out the National Youth Policy, which did not exist before his coming into office. And that was launched in August 2010. Since then, the authority has done a lot to try and transform the Youth Authority in terms of catering for the youth. The policies are being implemented. Last year, we had the youth caravan and the camps. The schools, we are currently working with CODVET to try and transform all the 11 technical and training institutes that we have. We hardly had any money at all to operate with, but this year, we were given, that's the year 2012 budget, our budget was increased by 2 million Ghana cedis.
Wow.
We are hoping to have the camps, was supposed to start next week, but because of his untimely death, we have postponed it, and it should happen after the burial.
Okay.
So we'll have the youth camps, and then we're having peace camps also, across the country, as well as the peace caravan to educate young people to hold the country together, just like His Excellency Professor John Evans Atta Mills did. He, even in death, he has unified the country. In life, he said he was a father for all. He said he was not going to discriminate. He would make sure that he puts the country together in a way that will let us all prosper as one. And that is exactly what he's done. Now, as you go around, you see people. Today, I was overwhelmed. Going from place to place, you saw people on their own, having their own funerals and their own remembrances for him. And that is not, is a bit unusual. I mean, people everywhere. I went through Circle, my office area. I mean, everywhere, people, Laboni, people were having their own small funerals. And another thing that he's done, I think he has brought out all the NDC supporters and functionaries that seem to have been asleep. Because all of a sudden,
there's been a real awakening.
Yes, there's a total revolution of our base. You find young people walking in the streets with NDC scarves and paraphernalia, the flags that could not fly out before, they are now all flying. And so I think that he's done the country a great service. And he has, I said last week when I handed in my nomination form that His Excellency somehow just dedicated his whole life and his whole self for country. He was selfless. He didn't even enjoy the trappings of the presidency. He just decided that I was going to work for my people, and I'll work till the last.
His Excellency President Mills also, we recall that he gave a lot of opportunity to young men to serve in his administration, and not only as deputy ministers and ministers, but he also appointed some of them to boards, institutions, and all that. And then for us as young men and young women, we count ourselves lucky to the extent that this is a president that got his doctorate degree at 27 years and has achieved a lot in his youthful days. And many of us, he never knew one day he was even becoming the president of the States. But those of us who are young today and then learning lessons for what he left behind, who might even have ambitions in future, will you say that he has actually, let me use the chairman's word, that he has actually blazed the trail that we can follow in those footsteps so that tomorrow we can also live lives that are worthy of emulating as young men and young women in Ghana?
Yeah, I agree entirely. I think that Professor John Evans Atta Mills, I always used to call him Prof, the good old Prof, even though it's always His Excellency and the President. He led an exemplary life. At 27, he was a Fulbright scholar. I mean, these are things that in his time, a lot of young people were not achieving at the kind of age that he had achieved. And therefore, he recognized the importance of young people in a democracy, and particularly in nation building. And it is for that reason that he took the development of the youth to his heart. Look at the programs that have been rolled out for young people since His Excellency took office. You had the NYEP being increased from 100,000 to almost 500. You had the Eco Brigade. You have the youth in Agric. You have the LESDEP, the skills and training program. We had our poultry program at
the youth in
Afienya. There's youth in ICT. You have the RLG. You have so many incentives. The youth entrepreneurship fund. So many other funds and other programs that just go to youth development. And he felt that once you're able to develop the youth and ensure that they are empowered, you will be able to build a successful nation.
Okay, we'll pick the documentary now, and then let's see how His Excellency Professor Mills lived his life, and then let's see the testimony and listen and hear the testimony of people who knew him, what they say about His Excellency Professor Mills.
Thy grace Professor John Evans Atta-Mills was born on July 21, 1944 at Tarkwa in the nation's western region. His parents, who hailed from the Comfy area in the central region of Ghana, were John Evans Atta-Mills Sr., a teacher, and Mrs. Mercy Atta-Mills, née Dawson Amwa, a petty trader, both now deceased. He is married to Nadu Mills and has a son, Samuel Atta-Mills.
We come from a family of 6 siblings, 3 boys and 3 girls. And Professor Atta-Mills is the second child and also the eldest male in the family. Our father was an instructor at Commander Training College and very much a staunch Christian Methodist, imbued with the spirit of Protestantism, and very much believed in, frugality, hard work, academic excellence. He is somebody who never smoked or drank and was very enterprising.
Professor, takwa ne amena mashene mugwa ya do man what time friend na papa wa Huni Valley na professor up school or school man said wa kunda obo na dusia so ndu ha agro daba obe ifia no leka ndo tu han papa ne oye holiday
na ya kwa kwentu nti mo papa no teacher watakwa nze wo mwana nechi wo be Huni Valley wo fi ho oba kisi na mo so na mo wa kwentu na mo so me be na mo ko honchan samokwa da madan mada ben wada tsoma mo sorry na osifon ho orisuade na ma sanada mada men wad but so mo sorry na papa for Atta-Mills no osifon ho no orisuade na ma da mo ta menji odo sorry mpo ade chenso a edwuma wa che wo fie hon obedi kan wa ya na de tamala no oroko school onke he kra onke dede awa epera ye worofo oba bebre wa temo hwana na ni subana ya so nko wo mo frɛ ni ni
abro ha ami mo me na ko school ke gina class na ni akoko ba ni na so ko ba anya wona ma ni fi so we ni ziban po no so huma unzizi odo so mo do from no ba asa wo di so mo tunu ko ma mi fi ko ba mpese yezi mi fi no wisi ni we concert we bibia nso an ko bida on 6 o'clock and you me hu de prof onam kisikru ana wo ko station obo e hu ne da prof yo bia de ocean asenezi na dutia mo fi papa fi a no bi on ko mo we za bench bi wo asa ho na me ne ko akatina yiti on ko ta ma so no ko training na
As a result of his father's moving from one teaching station to another, the young Atta-Mills had his primary education in 2 different towns in the central region of Ghana, Kisi and Komenda.
I have 56. It's maternal so 56 this year. Nayan teacher, I Master Kwashi. We teach 56 and 57. Na Fifi on Prakasa, on Yabasa, Ubazi, Nanado so ope, boy on winning ope, boy Lancasankas. There you will school my baby Punya. Over way none for Bacasan, no oil now, or your Fifi. It's so beautiful, let's say a cadet. Fifi and Yauda. Ah, no. I want to move back above all. Ubazi on Pebasta, the Maya to Crow. Salasam.
No, we see so down. 9 I agree. May I know and we see the papa in the bone 50s in the now and call commander. But in I need to have a friend of 50. Poor boy, Fifian, and my former mom, and Mackay, you was school. One ship Yara Robata. The dancing near Max from class 1 to Form 3 now, because again is one ship Yara Robata. No bone fool, class was a Mewuta. That's a meeting one on it. It was that to say. Or any person could get there, she had it. Oh, yeah, the Jesu or passer, if you should have that.
Mackay, Prof, just while you're there, Papa, you are the Yamatako. Mokolabira, time I'm a band, and I'm a classmate to do. Commander. And no cram down Moncona Munkuchia. And say, how many Aisha Caranya, Namoko Commander Junction. Now, Mitcha Junction, oh, man, more than Carbasin. Carbasina, Carno Cochina. I said, nature view. Anna, I say, member, Mokoya probably. Now, I'll be some Moko, Miss Moko Commander, also for Carmen Uncle. Now, so you'll be a Onion Kaya, and Jobo and Sancho Corre. Now, baby, I'm more corner, so you could do my classmate in if you there, my son of you.
In 1957, Professor Mills gained entrance into the prestigious and famous Achimota School in Accra, Ghana's capital, where he excelled both in the classroom and the sporting arena.
Professor John Evans Atta Mills and I met as far back as 1957. Since then, we have been playmates in various games at various levels. At the level of the school, Achimota School, we played several games including cricket, hockey, and of course, soccer. From then, we moved on to the university, where we played for our university, the University of Ghana, where we won several trophies. And from then, we also moved on to the national level. At the national level, we were selected, both of us, to play for the academicals, that is, students selected from various schools to form the academicals team. We didn't win any laurels or trophies, but at that time, at that moment, we were considered good enough to play for our national hockey team.
In 1963, Jonathan Mills, after obtaining his advanced level certificate, went on to the Faculty of Law, University of Ghana, Legon, where he subsequently received his bachelor's degree and was called to the Ghana Bar in 1967. The London School of Economics, LSE, and the School of Oriental and African Studies, SOAS, also in London, the United Kingdom, were the next ports of call for John Atta Mills. He obtained his master's degree in law at the LSE and his doctorate degree in taxation at SOAS. While working on his doctoral thesis, Atta Mills was elected as a Fulbright scholar at Stanford Law School in the United States of America. On his return home, he was appointed a lecturer at the law faculty at his alma mater, the University of Ghana, Legon, where he remained for 25 years and rose to the enviable position of associate professor. It was during this period that he married Nadu Mills' Nee Tebotri, whom he met in his student years at Legon.
Actually, my acquaintance with Professor John Evans Atta Mills goes back many years. We met also in Legon, in the University of Ghana, when we both entered the Faculty of Law as students. Now, we were in the same classroom, taught by the same people, and throughout our days as students, we took, the rest of the class, I think, took a lot of inspiration from him. He continued these fine academic qualities into later life, into postgraduate work. I also went to do postgraduate work. As luck would have it, we came back to the University of Ghana and began teaching in the same year. He was a man of incredible patience, a man of leadership qualities, a man who could listen to arguments which were even sometimes patently absurd without reacting aggressively. But in spite of all these qualities, he was a man who also stood for principle, very firm in matters of principle. which he regarded as non-negotiable. In terms of his relationship with colleagues, staff, it's very cordial. Even before he entered politics, he was known in the faculty as a peacemaker, always trying to repair bridges and broken fences and so on. He was very good at that, and everybody really trusted him to do a good job of it. Even in his relationship with students, and those far below those students, he was a very, very good man. His interpersonal relations were extremely good.
In deference to his expertise as a financial lawyer, Professor Mills was appointed the head of Ghana's Internal Revenue Service until 1996, when the then President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency Jerry John Rawlings, named him as his vice presidential running mate for the general elections of that year. On January 7, 1997, Professor John Atta Mills was sworn in as the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, a position he held with respect, integrity, intellectual dexterity, and ability. In 2000, an election year, he was elected unopposed as the presidential candidate of the ruling National Democratic Congress. After 2 rounds of voting in the general elections, Atta Mills was unsuccessful in his bid to become the President of Ghana, but was lauded nationwide, along with the outgoing President Rawlings, for handing over peacefully to the new government of the opposition New Patriotic Party led by John Agyekum Kufuor. After spending a year as a visiting scholar at the Lewis Center for the Study of Global Affairs in the University of British Columbia, Canada, Professor Mills was again elected in December 2002 as the flag bearer of the NDC for the 2004 general elections, where he was again unsuccessful in his presidential bid. During his years in the political wilderness, Professor Atta Mills rallied his party and traversed the length and breadth of Ghana, preaching integrity and peace and a call for a better Ghana. In December 2006, Atta Mills was re-elected the flag bearer of the NDC to lead his party in the general elections of 2008.
Professor Evans Atta Mills won the elections with his message of building a better Ghana. He became the 3rd president of the 4th Republic on 7th January 2009 as he held the state sword and sworn his allegiance to the nation.
So help me God.
Jesus shall reign wherever the sun, thus his successive journeys on. His kingdom stretch from shore to shore till sun shall rise and no Jesus shall reign wherever the sun, thus his successive journeys run. Come and help me, come and help me. His king from shore to shore till sun shall rise. My hope is built on nothing else than Jesus' blood and righteousness. I dare not trust the sweetest friend, but only lean on Jesus. On Christ the solid rock I stand. Oh, on the ground you see. Oh, on the ground. my faith has found a resting place, not in device, no sleep. I trust the ever-living one. His wounds shall bleed for me. Come on, everybody, help me say, I need no other argument. I need no other plea. Innocent that Jesus and the guide me on the great Jehovah, pilgrim through this.
Welcome back, cherished viewers, and on that solemn and very memorable note, I welcome you back to the studios, and I'm still here with the Greater Accra Regional Chairman, Caucus, and the Acting National Coordinator of the National Youth Authority, Mrs. Sedina Tamako Atiuno. That was a very moving documentary.
Yes.
And then, in fact, it has touched me so much, and I believe our viewers are really, really touched about the man we had, and then the man we lost. And then I pray that we have many of the persona and the character of Professor Mills that will be birthed in Ghana for many years to come.
They are rare species. You know, they come once in a lifetime. It's like a meteor. When it falls from the sky, it falls once but a while. And things like this, when you see, you ask yourself, so where were we? All of us never saw these things. You know, he had to come out to show that he's doing something in Ghana. That is why these pictures have been captured. That when he started his tour, and it seems that this is one of the tours that Greater Accra that he toured. You know, the blinkers were on. People were not seeing. It's all unfortunate. And now we sit down. That's why when we started the program, I said, Ghanaians, I don't know whether it's Africans, but Ghanaians by nature, we seem to appreciate
what we have.
The little things that the good Lord gives to us. You don't seem to see it. When you look for the bigger picture, you can never find it. If you haven't found the small things, you can't get the bigger picture.
The Greater Accra Regional Secretariat was about holding, I think the National Executive, was about holding elections in some constituencies. Yeah. What has become of that?
Yesterday we called a few of our colleagues and especially the national organizer to get in touch with the secretary and the chairman to call this off.
Okay.
Because, I mean, after today's event, I would not have the time to go and vet somebody.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it, you know, because we must bury the president.
So it means a new date will be
after that, we can look at my sister sitting here who wants to be a parliamentary candidate. But at the moment, all of us should get in the morning mood and ensure that come 10 August, politics can wait.
Yeah.
It can wait. It can always.
Yeah, so if you can add something briefly before I open the phone lines.
Well, you know, like Chairman said, you know, the dates had already been set before the untimely death of His Excellency, and you know, even though we have been going through the motions, it has been very difficult for all of us to continue, and so we felt that it would be just right for us to put him in his resting place, and then continue with the process.
Okay.
But what I'd like to say is that
let me just announce the phone line quickly so I can pick up please some few calls, because 0302-211-701, 0302-211-702, 0302-211-703, and then 0302-211-701. 704. Call in and then you share some tribute or any memorable event that you have found yourself in with His Excellency President John Evans Atta Mills the late. Yes, I was speaking with
I was just saying that, we all need to learn from him, the values that he held, his integrity, his love for country, his selflessness, his contribution to the nation, to actually die for country, which is exactly what he has done. He's died for us. He's unified us in his death. He's taken us to a place where we weren't before. It's like all of a sudden, all the good things that the bat has.
I have a first caller. Good evening, Colin.
Good evening.
Yeah, you're calling us from where?
I'm calling from Ho in the Volta region.
Okay, sorry.
Volta capital.
Okay, Colin, yeah. Your contribution, please.
Yeah, it's very painful that the light was on, then we could not see the light. Now that the light is off, and we want to see it on again, but there is no way we can do that. We can't reverse it. And I'm happy Adekoka said that it comes once in a century. We will never see his type in Ghana. I was the first person to start criticizing President Mills. But today, or some months back, I move about and I tell people, man, the month was doing marvelous. Indeed, I mourn for Ghana the day I heard that President has gone on.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, Colin. Let me pick Andrew. Hello, Andrew.
Yeah, good evening, Maulu.
Yeah, good evening, Andrew.
One thing I remember, I used to be a reporter when Damongo 2004, and the people were so jubilant. They wanted Professor Mills to respond to some of the attacks that were coming from the opposition of the party at that time. Then he told the crowd that one thing that he valued and he expects young people to do is that if somebody's older than you within a second, you need to give that person respect, no matter what, and hold that patience. And so he wants to stand on that and plead, no matter how difficult and all the lies that has been said about him and the party. Which is, and as a reporter, as I stood by and I watched since then, I developed some respect for the professor. In fact, we lost, but we pray that most Ghanaians, especially the youth, will learn from him and will get big leaders like him.
Okay.
I know that was his wish.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, Andrew. Yes.
Yeah.
Let me
what I'd like to say is that if we say
have another caller. Hello, Gabi. Hello, Ima.
Joshua.
Yeah. Good evening, Ima.
Good evening, Joshua.
Okay, Joshua. Sorry, I lost Ima.
I'm coming from Takwari.
Okay, Joshua.
I want to say this into the whole Ghanaians to understand that the death of our president is a symbol for us to know that God wants us to be peaceful for the nation. Because the way the tensions are rising, if he's alive to the end of December, it will be a different issue altogether.
Oh, okay, all right.
And this, God sacrificed this man for us to have a peace in this nation.
Okay, all right, okay.
Thomas. And I'm prophesying that it should be peace during the election and after the election.
Okay.
No matter, it's true, Jesus sacrificed his life for us. But now we have seen a great man who has sacrificed his life for a nation like Ghana to have peace. Okay. And there will be peace.
Okay, thank you so much, Andrew. Thomas. Let me pick Isaac. Hello, Isaac from Yeji.
Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. We have only 1 minute.
Okay. What I want to say is President Mills is a father for pro in the North region, and he has lived a legacy.
Okay.
Actually, we are actually impressed about what he's doing now. When you look at the projects going around all over the district, in fact, we are actually happy.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you very much, Isaac. Yeah, let me come back to studio. Yes, we have less than a minute, and so briefly,
What I'd like to say is that if we end up saying that we are not going to have someone like His Excellency in the next few years, then that means his work has been for naught. because he's been there to teach the youth, to teach us, all those who are behind him, to emulate his character and stand for peace, stand for humility, stand for all the good things that he represents.
Okay,
and so I'm sure that in no time to come, we'll find another one.
So what we are saying is this: the uniqueness. That one you can never find.
Every human being.
Everybody has his own. We can learn, and it is very important that we learn from what he has left as the legacy. But then, his type of person that you slap a chick, he turns to that one, is rare.